Good evening, welcome to Dazn Boxing. We are joined again by Andy. Good evening, Andy.
How are we doing, lads?
And Raimondo. Good evening, Raimondo.
How are you doing? You okay?
Fine, thank you. So I thought it was only right, following the announcement today, when I picked my email up, to come on and talk about Dazn rising the price to $7.99. Yeah. Now, this has been a well-guarded secret by Mr. Earn, hasn't it? He's mentioned about the price rise, but never put a figure on it. So what I thought we'd do is just have a bit of a debate about, do we think it's value for money or is it not? So I think I'll go to Raimondo for this one first. So Ray, just talk to us, fella. What do you think?
It's still value for money if you consider what Box Nation was, and the caliber fighters that were on Box Nation compared to the ones that are on Dazn when it was £2. I know I heavily criticised Fight Camp and previous Dazn cards because they're not all matchroom cards. I think that needs to be put out there. It's not all Eddie Hearn.
No.
I do think that this is still in a very reasonable price. It's very affordable. I know we've got direct debits coming out left, right, and centre because some of us are still paying for Sky, BT, and there's other pay-per-views that you may need to fork out for. But when you just consider this in isolation, the price that it is, and I filled out a questionnaire for Dazn, talking about what we thought of the production so far, the cards so far, and I was just fair and I give them a bit of stick. So if this extra increase goes some way into making the production better, because I'm just talking about in the studio as well, but also if it transfers to the cards, we see quality fighters in the ring, I'm not opposed to it at all.
What about if it doesn't improve the production though, Ray? Is it still value for money?
Again, we're seeing some of the very best fighters in the world. So I'd still say yes, because if you compare it to the likes of Fightzone and Box Nation are still going and they're still charging a fee. I think Box Nation's about £10. And the caliber of
Fightzone $4.99 right at the minute. So
yeah, that's Fightzone, yeah. Box Nation's about a tenner, and Dazn's got the better operators by a stretch. But I still think they can improve. So if it stays as it is, I'll be happy with it. But they could do better. They could do better.
And what about you? What are your thoughts?
I can't fault the production. I think it's great. I think they've got a good team. They seem to bounce off each other really well. I think you'll find the odd one will get moved about after a while because people will find the feet, some will shine, and others will kind of fall a little bit by the wayside. But as a whole, yeah, I like the team they've got. I don't think Fight Camp did them any favours, though, if I'm honest. I thought the 3 weeks were pretty average, card standard-wise. If you compare it to what's coming this weekend with Warrington,
yeah,
it's night and day. The Warrington card is right up there, quality-wise. If that had been one of the Fight Camp weeks, everyone would have been raving. But I don't know whether it smacks to me like the old Fight Camp thing was rushed a bit this year. It's as though, well, that's the first Dazn thing. We've got to get it out. Let's get it out. And he's made the fights and probably made him in a bit of a rush. I know there'd been a few dropouts and what have you. But you can't fault the price, even the price increase.
Well, the Box Nation sits at $11.99 a month at the minute.
Well, I mean, come on, really? What's Box Nation bring?
Not a lot.
The word just nothing, mate. It's not a lot.
I have got a slight concern that this is the first stage of the price increases.
Yeah, no, it will go up again. Absolutely, no doubt about that. Yeah. Because you say Box Nation's what?
$11.99.
And Fight TV?
$4.99.
Right.
So they go in the middle.
Right, and neither of them two are anywhere near the standard. I think you're looking at probably $12.99, $14.99 a month when it gets to its peak.
What would you pay?
I'd pay that.
What about you, Ray? What's your ceiling?
Do you want my honest opinion?
Mm.
If it goes to the potential I think it can go to, I'll be happy to pay 20.
Yeah, I mean, the way you
Is that with Canelo and Sorry, Andy. Is that with Canelo and Triple G featuring regularly on the channel?
Yeah, but even the stars that we've seen already, getting them on. So you're getting the likes of Haney on, Joshua will be on by then. Don't forget, because he's in his last fight with Sky Sports.
Yep.
Yeah, those caliber opponents, get them on regularly. Yeah, you're right, and I'll be happy to pay the £20.
So, question for you: What's the Joshua Usyk price?
Is that
25 quid, $24.99.
Yeah.
And it's been around about that, between $19.99 and 25 quid for a good year on Sky for a pay-per-view, and that's one fight maybe per month.
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting all of the archives. You're getting maybe 2, if not 3 cards per month. For if it does go up to 20 quid, like you said, you'd be happy to pay 20 quid. I don't think that's unreasonable.
No,
it's quite interesting that AJ versus Usyk worldwide TV rights, apart from UK and Ireland, are where? Which platforms are going to be broadcasted on?
DAZN.
Yeah,
correct. So you tell me that AJ's not already. It sounds a done deal.
Yeah. It's not daft, mate.
Of course. I mean, this is literally the last fight he's got with Sky Sports box office, and then it's inevitably goes.
Can you imagine the deal he's gonna generate?
Yeah. So the Americans and the Canadians can pick DAZN up for $19.99 per month, or $99.99 for the year.
Bargain.
So
when they're paying,
that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed into.
When they're paying $90 per fight.
Yeah. This is really going to shake up boxing for the likes of the other channels, Showtime and the like, for showing their high prices for PBC fights. I just think that in Joshua, you've got arguably the second biggest star in world boxing. You bring him over to DAZN, you get the other UK fighters on there, you get the American fighters that we've already got there, you sign some other ones, and I think Eddie Hearn's laughing. But he just needs to be smart with this.
Let me just throw another angle at you while we're talking about the commercial side of it. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Could it be a danger that we're talking about a similar scenario to ITV Sport when they came into the Football League? A lot of promoters who are not involved with DAZN, I might add, do often say that they're losing money hand over fist, and it's not a sustainable business model. So I'll put it to you first, Ray. Is there a little bit of doubt there? You know, could it go pop?
I'd probably have to say no. I tell you why, because if it's not a sustainable model, we've got to look at it with Sky. Sky was on an increasingly low budget year after year after year. Yeah, Eddie Hearn brought the numbers in there. So with DAZN, it's not just Eddie Hearn. There's Golden Boy in there as well. I know Oscar is looking at the end of their 3-year deal. Maybe talks of him going to Triller. Now, their model, you could argue, is not sustainable because Triller are overpaying for fights. DAZN are probably overpaid for maybe one or two of Canelo's opponents. Everything else seems to be fair. So I think they've probably taken that into consideration when they've got in Eddie Hearn as a view of probably, maybe if they let Golden Boy go, for being exclusive to Eddie Hearn. So I don't necessarily, I think probably, they've lost a lot of money, but I don't think long-term there will be. I think they've already got an economic plan to rein that in. Hence
I mean,
why
that's all allegedly, by the way, because obviously these promoters have got a vested interest, haven't they, often to put the boot in.
Yeah, I'm just going off what we can clearly see, and you know, if for when Anthony Joshua comes in and Canelo's only on a one fight deal with PBC, should they get Canelo back, you've got arguably the two biggest stars in terms of revenue from world boxing on your network. Yeah. So I think, you know, even if they've got Canelo and Joshua on the same month in September, because they could both easily fight in the September next year, that brings in a lot of money from DAZN if they play the cards right, bigging up the bills and you know, the cards and stuff like that. So I think DAZN, if they play it smart, they can bring in a lot of money. It could be a very sustainable model.
It's quite interesting though, isn't it, Andy? Because there has been other examples, maybe not on the scale of DAZN, but Satanta Sports springs to mind, where they throw all the chips in, don't they? They go for these big stars and these big contracts, and then find that the revenue is not quite matching what the expenditure is. So, what are your thoughts, Andy?
I think it's all on Eddie Hearn's shoulders, in my opinion. He holds the key here because we've praised Eddie Hearn up no end of times on how good his depth of card is compared to other promoters in the UK. And we've battered other promoters in the UK for how poor the cards are. I just hope that he don't rest on his laurels and go, well, you know, the cards are what they are. You're only paying so much a month. I'm hoping that he digs deep and he gets some real strong cards back the way they were a couple of years ago. And if he gets that, he'll have no issues, mate. People will buy it, no problem. Because it's nothing, is it? It's 2 pints. That's how people ought to look at it. It's 2 pints.
I think he really is relying on that American market, though, cracking that pay-per-view model.
Well, it's a gold mine, isn't it, America?
Yeah. Numbers-wise, wow.
It's ridiculous.
But he's also got a re-education job to do, hasn't he? Because American fight fans, dare I say, are only used to seeing the main event, where DAZN, there's all that narrative behind it. There's all that them shows that they put on during the lead-up to fights. So there's probably a learning process for these American fight fans.
Absolutely, and as soon as they get their heads around that, they wonder what's been happening for the last however many years. And
also, gents, you've got to remember as well, he wants to keep and build on a loyal fan base he's got in the UK.
Yeah,
and you could argue he's starting to do that. I mean, we can talk all day and night about the October 9th card.
Yeah,
you know, you can look in that card, and that's what Andy's talking about there. Back in the day when Eddie Hearn had, you can look through the card, and there's about 3 or 4, maybe 50-50 fights.
Yep.
In October the 9th, you know, there's mouth-watering fights there, 6 or 7. And 5 or 6 fights on there. So if he continues with that consistency, I don't see a problem for him.
And he's got an eye on them other territories as well, isn't he? He's very shrewd, Eddie Hearn. If you start talking about that South American market, should DAZN start opening up that market? The numbers you're talking about in that continent, wow.
Oh, yeah.
This is where Canelo comes in, isn't it?
It is.
And this is where Eddie has been very, very smart in signing Canelo up. He's not stupid. He'd have been thinking that's the way he's going to go, you know. Give Canelo what he needs. He'll be the front man. And, wow, like you say.
And all the promotional side of it with Canelo as well. He's linked in with his promotional company who are going to put nights on in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he just, perfect matchmaking, isn't it? You know. Mm-hmm. And then before you even start talking about the other territories that they're not even, he's already talking about Kazakhstan,
Russia.
Big numbers.
Yeah,
Russia,
I'm not convinced about some of them other areas because they've not got the stars. China's got a couple of stars. You can argue Russia's got 1 or 2. Other than that, you're struggling over the Eastern Bloc, aren't you?
He'll develop him though, won't he? He'll develop him into household names.
To be fair, and see where Carl's coming from, because if you look at a couple of years ago when he was making Matchroom USA, before that went belly up, and there's a Matchroom Italia and Matchroom in Spain, he was signing up a few people from Kazakhstan, wasn't he? He signed the welterweight, and I think that was his idea, to build them into global stars in terms of stars in their nation. And I think there's still a couple of fighters he's got in his stable. He's got a lot of fighters signed with him, and I think that's the way you'll want to market those fights, where you'll put cards in their countries, a bit like what he does with Italy. He has a couple of Italian boxers, not many, but what he does is he has British boxers fighting for European titles. How do we know he's not going to have, a couple of Americans fighting over there, and just to put on shows.
Florian Marku is a great example. He's gonna take him back to Albania. He's already building him. Whether he's got the ability, I don't know, to be brutally honest. But he's building him, giving him all the advantages of Matchroom, with the view that they'll take him back to Albania. He's already a legend out there. What are the numbers going to be out there?
Yeah. This is
very shrewd business model.
Yeah, this is what I mean, and he's got a few that we can all think of where you can look at and think he's building this fighter for that particular market, for that particular demographic.
Yeah. So I guess we're all giving it a thumbs up then, boys. Our Dazn, we're not crying over the $7.99. We're gonna get our wallets out, apart from Ray, who's loaded anyway, so it don't matter to Ray.
Oh, sure. So, I was going to say, Andy's seen his 2 pints. You must be joking. It's about a pint, yeah.
And then I guess we'll keep an eye on it, because I think the next price hike won't be as long as this one. I think it'll be quite quick now. They'll gauge it and then they'll up it again, won't they?
Yeah.
But fair play to Mr. Earn. We'll also still be subscribing. So, anything else, guys, before they bring this to an end? Quick mention about Thursday. Obviously, we got a very interesting character coming on Thursday. If you want.
Yeah, I can see we're gonna have some interesting banter. Let's say.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is,
do you want to tell everyone who's coming on Thursday?
The name might not jump out to you, but if you don't know the name, please go and research him. So it's a guy called Rick Glaser. He used to be Don King's still is Don King's primary matchmaker. Been with him for a lot of years. Otherwise known as Don King's right-hand man. Now, slightly apprehensive about this interview, because by all accounts, is a very strong negotiator. So, guys, we're going to have to up a game on this one.
He's not going to take no prisoners, is he?
Due to be recorded on Thursday. There's also a live show Thursday, 9 p.m. as ever. On this Thursday, at the minute, we're due to have a few guests. I won't announce who they are because it's still a bit up in the air. But me, Ray and Andy will be there, and I'll be there. That's more than enough. So join us. Like, comment, subscribe. Dazn Boxing. Over and out. Cheers, guys.
Take care.